Hello friends, Jenkins here, bringing you the fourth installment of Heroes of the Week. So without further ado, let's get into it. Our up-and-coming hero for this week is Viper. The reason Viper is strong right now is relatively simple, or I should say it's extremely simple. His new Nether Toxin does way too much. It does a lot of damage, it has a low mana cost, it's great for farming, it's great for fighting, it applies a break mechanic, and breaks are very rare yet extremely effective in Dota, it increases magic damage by a percentage, it has a large AoE, it has a low cooldown, it stacks with itself, and it eventually provides a no downtime ground-targeted silence. On top of this, Viper's Q essentially working like Necrophos's Reaper Scythe in terms of its scaling damage output, paired with the immense amount of early and late game burst damage that Viper does, essentially forces the enemy team to either build BKBs or die and lose the game. But even if you do build a BKB against Viper, he can kite it with his low cooldown BKB piercing slow that is the Viper Strike. The kill combo on Viper is very simple. You 8-toast somebody from long range, drop Nether Toxin if it looks good, you walk in, use Viper Strike, Q the person once, and then they probably die. One final note I want to make on why I think Viper is so strong right now is due to itemization. Wraith Bands and Null Talismans have fallen off, people are building Crowns, Crowns build into Atos, Atos is amazing on Viper. Kaya and Yasha is also currently an amazing item, and Viper loves building into this because he's an agi hero, and his Q works based on missing HP, so Kaya gives him some insane scaling damage. Finally, with the changes to Viper's talents, Ags plus the level 20 talent makes Viper Strike able to basically kill any non-BKB hero from full to zero on an extremely low cooldown. How you play Viper is you pick him for mid, offlane or carry, go one value point in your corrosive skin, then max the Q and the W together if you want to kill and fight. If you want to farm, max your W and your E. Don't go Q past level 3 though, because it has 100% uptime at level 3, you should max your W first. In harder lanes, shove the lane with W in jungle. In easy lanes, kill your opponent with your Q and your W. Build into Atos plus mech and fight constantly. Viper has extremely low cooldowns and you want to abuse it. Farm and split push with your W if your team isn't ready to take a certain objective, for example tier 2s or tier 3s. How to counter Viper? He is a harass laning hero, so you can pick Batrider or Chaos Knight, essentially heroes that are strong kill heroes. Viper does exclusively magic damage over time, so you can pick magic immunity and healing heroes like Oracle and Jug to counter Viper. Viper also has a lot of magic resistance, so you want to pick physical and pure damage versus him like Razor, Meepo, or Nature's Prophet. Lich, for the past few months, since he got buffed in 7.20, has almost exclusively been picked as a 5-role support, and very seldom as a 4-role support. With his overwhelming success as a hero since the reworks, he's steadily been getting nerfed in the subsequent patches. Frost Shield slow has been almost halved, and it does 20% of his slow at level 1 instead of 35%. Chain Frost now does 50 less damage at level 1 per bounce. Sinister Gaze is now a 1.3 second fear at level 1 instead of a 1.6 second fear. Lich's movement speed has been reduced from 310 to 295, while in the patches after 7.20, most heroes got movement speed buffs, and, as we are all well aware of, now due to the Scourge that is Lifestealer, movement speed is clearly a very important factor in determining a hero's success. So with all of these nerfs, what does it mean? It means that Lich is a lot weaker in the early game, with not so many levels. If Lich was an offlaner, and he was picked mostly because his skills were great in the later parts of the game, then these changes probably wouldn't matter all that much. But that's not the case. This hero is a 5, and now he's weaker in the early game than a lot of other heroes in Dota, supports and cores alike. This means that cores have less of a problem dealing with Lich, and supports like Disruptor or Ancient Apparition, who have been getting buffed in the patches after 7.20, have probably surpassed Lich in terms of potential early game usefulness in most drafts. On top of these nerfs, the current meta is also a bit of a problem for Lich. There's a lot of heroes getting picked that simply do not care about magic damage. Viper, Pangolier, Jug, and Lifestealer are a few examples, but all Lich does is magic damage, so this is a big problem for him in terms of usefulness past the laning stage. Once again, I know I say this every week, but these problems do not mean that Lich is bad. It just means that there are far better support options to pick than him, but he's still getting picked up frequently enough in pubs that I would consider him overrated. Our underrated hero for this week is Omniknight. When Omniknight was reworked, he was terrible. Repel, which was arguably one of the best spells in all of Dota, was replaced with Heavenly Grace, which gave you a large amount of status resistance and some HP regeneration for 8 seconds. When the patch hit, people were ranting and raving about this ability. Some people thought it was good, other people thought it was bad. In my opinion, Gods described this spell perfectly. He said that most of the time, Repel used to give you 100% status resistance because it gave you total magic immunity. So in most cases, essentially Heavenly Grace was just a worse Repel with health regen. However, in 7.20, Omniknight was not strictly nerfed. In fact, I believe that his win rate went up at this time, but it was almost certainly not because of Heavenly Grace. It was because Guardian Angel was buffed massively. Not only was the cooldown reduced, but the range of the spell went from 600 to an insane 1200. This is highly significant, especially considering that before people would build into Ags almost exclusively because if you can hit everyone on your team with Guardian Angel in a fight, then you'll win the fight. If the enemy team has magic damage, usually it's not enough to take somebody from 100% to 0% HP. They need some right clicks in there, and Guardian Angel totally prevents that. With that being said, the Toad of Frost has gifted us these buffs to Heavenly Grace such that it no longer is just a shittier Repel. It now gives the target strength, and instead of lasting only 8 seconds, it lasts 12. If you cast level 1 Heavenly Grace on yourself in the lane, you have 7 extra attack damage, 140 extra HP, and 8.7 extra regen per second. It's also worth noting that Heavenly Grace is a strong dispel, so if it's picked against heroes like Jakiro, Venomancer, and so forth, you can ruin their day if you use this spell to purge their damage over time abilities. This, paired with Purification, makes Omniknight almost impossible to harass out of the lane because he has so much regen and trades better than most other heroes in Dota. Omniknight also has a 90 GPM talent at level 10, and as we all know from the current Midas meta, since the creeps now give less gold, non-creep farming related methods of gaining gold are now far more effective at winning games. Gold talents, Midases, and Bounty Hunter's Track are good examples of these. On top of all of this, Omniknight is a right-click hero who benefits both from the Midas attack speed, bonus gold, and bonus experience due to having insanely powerful talents in the late game. Omniknights have been dominating the lane and going Midas Radiance for years, so this meta is absolutely perfect for him. How you play Omniknight is you pick Omniknight, go offlane, and then go for a 2-1-2 build or a 2-2-1 build, leaning more towards Purification for killing and Heavenly Grace for trading slowly in the lane. Build Soul Ring plus Phase Boots and bully your opponents out of the lane by heal bombing them over and over until they abandon. Take the tower by cutting the wave and secure the offlane area, pushing the wave out, farming jungle, and taking every bounty rune. Farm Midas, fight with your ulti if you feel strong enough, and otherwise split push and farm Radiance or Aura items. On Omni, you're perfectly okay with going late game because your hero's a beast as a semi-carry and as a utility hero. But you can also build into Vlads and other Aura items and push early. Choose what you think is best based on the weaknesses of the enemy draft. How you counter Omniknight is you pick amazing trading, melee punishing heroes in lane like Razor, Monkey King, and Ursa. You need to also absolutely pick Dispel against Omniknight, otherwise his Guardian Angel is a massive issue, too massive of an issue. You can also pick heroes that can take Omniknight out of the fight and kill his teams, such as Doom or Brewmaster. So that's it for Heroes of the Week. Let me know in the comments below what you think the underrated heroes are that you'd like to see people picking more of. What's overrated? What are you sick and tired of people picking in your pubs? And I'm genuinely curious what you think because I really think Dota's in this place right now where I was going to make a video on like the 3 worst heroes in Dota, but I couldn't think of any 3 heroes that are just strictly awful. I can think of overrated heroes, but not awful heroes. So if you can think of any awful heroes and you have good reasoning why you think they're awful, please let me know because I'm definitely curious. So anyway, thank you for watching and I'll see you in another video.